Well, hello there, fellow reader. Are you looking for a story? You're in luck then, because I have a great one that I think you might like. I've never told anyone this story, not even my closest friend or my family, so you will be the first one to read this tale. You feel special? Let's get started, shall we? This story is about a lad named Daniel. He was about 10 years old, and overall, he was pretty much a normal kid. Daniel, like a lot of kids in his class, fell in love with Pokemon when it first came out. The very first game he owned was Pokemon Red, since his favourite colour was red. Daniel found the game slightly addictive, and he always had a hard time putting it down. He always carried around his Game Boy Color along with him, along with Pokemon Red, even to school. Daniel was a good boy though, so he would only play his game when it was recess. Then he wouldn't get his precious game taken away. When he got home, Daniel continued to play the game. His best friend Michael would come over a lot, and the two of them would play their Pokemon games together. The two of them would often battle each other, and even traded Pokemon. It helped them complete their collection, since Daniel had red, and Michael had green. Daniel was the first one to beat the game in his class, and he had a nice collection of Pokemon. He also wasn't far off from completing his Pokédex either. Michael, though, wasn't far off from his buddy. It wasn't long until Michael too had beaten the game. Now, I know what you're thinking. This story's boring. It's just about two kids playing Pokemon. Trust me, it gets better. Daniel heard some rumours about the legendary Pokemon Mew that was in the game. Though he had no clue as what Mew was, but it seemed like everyone wanted one. It was said that the only way to get Mew was through hacking, although it was only a rumour and no one was successful with the hack. Michael and him decided to give this hack a shot though. They wanted this legendary that everyone was after. After weeks of trying, Daniel was unable to complete the hack, so he decided to try something different. After some random events, which he probably couldn't do again in his life, he found himself face to face with a Mew. He sent out his Butterfree Buggy, and the battle started. The normal options popped up, and he pressed attack. He then selected Sleep Powder. The attack was a success, and the Mew fell asleep. Daniel then went into his bag and selected a Master Ball, of which he had many. His friend Michael was the one who did the Master Ball hack. He was a much better hacker than Daniel, and he was already in possession of a Mew himself. With the Master Ball, catching the Mew was no problem for Daniel. He then gave it the nickname Kami, and it was sent to the PC, since he'd already had 6 Pokemon on hand. Daniel was super excited to have caught Mew, so of course he had to play with his new Pokemon. After he placed Kami on his team, the two of them became great partners. Although Kami was at a low level at first, Daniel found it fun to train her. He often referred to the Mew as her, although he actually had no clue what gender it was. Soon, she became the most powerful Pokemon on his team. Daniel, not longer after he'd got this Mew, got more addicted to his Pokemon Red game. It became so bad that he would skip out meals and on sleep. He still did everything at school, but when he got home, he would run to his room and basically just stay there for the whole night. It didn't take long for his parents to start getting worried about his health, and had no choice but to take the game away. "I know it doesn't seem fair at the moment, but it's for your own good," said his father, as he held the Game Boy along with Pokemon Red in his hand. "But Dad, Kami will get lonely without me," whined Daniel, tears starting to well up in his eyes. His father had no clue who Kami was, but he figured it was probably a Pokemon. "You'll get it back in 2 weeks. Your mother and I think you need a break from this stupid game. Go visit Michael. I know you haven't seen him in a while." With that being said, he walked out the room. The 2 weeks passed slowly. and it started to feel like the days were just getting longer for Daniel. He hung out with Michael a few times, but most of the 2 weeks were spent laying on his bed and looking up at the ceiling. He seemed to perk up though when the 2 weeks were over. Daniel's father handed the Game Boy and the game back to him just as promised. Right away, Daniel turned on the Game Boy and started up his game. As it first started up normally, he pressed continue. The screen suddenly went black, as if it had just shut off. After waiting a few minutes, he decided to shut off the game and restart. The same thing happened the second time around, but as he went to turn off the game again, Daniel heard Muse cry. Although, it seemed sadder than the usual cry that he was used to. The cry was acting like it was in a loop and would not stop playing. Just then, a Muse sprite slowly started to fade onto the black screen. Daniel looked at the sprite for a moment and noticed something odd. It looked sad. A text box appeared just under the sprite and the loop Mew cry stopped. "Where were you, Daniel? I was lonely here in the dark." "Kami?" whispered Daniel under his breath. "I thought we were friends. How could you just leave me here? You promised that we could play." There was then a slight pause. "I know how you can make it up to me though. There's a way we can play together forever and never have to worry about being apart again." Daniel looked at the screen confused for a moment, and Kami looked like she was smiling now. It wasn't a cute little smile either, not like you would expect from a Mew, but more of a demonic smile. This smile scared Daniel almost to the point of him screaming, but he held it back. The text faded away, and a new sentence appeared. "Jump out of the window, and we will be together forever. We can then play forever and ever, and we don't have to worry about being separated again, Daniel." Daniel all of a sudden felt like something took control of him. He really didn't want to jump out the window. His room was on the second floor, but he had the feeling that he needed to. He had to be with Kami, so that they could play with each other. He would do anything for Kami. The text on the screen now read, "Come play with me." He placed the Game Boy on the bed, and slowly walked over to the window. Daniel then opened the window and was greeted with a small, cool breeze. He then climbed out of the window and fell to the ground. Daniel hit the ground and was killed almost instantly. His parents heard something and ran outside to see what it was. They saw Daniel on the lawn. He wasn't breathing, and they knew he was already gone. Upon the dead child's face was a smile. Michael was heartbroken upon the news of the death of his best friend. The two of them were close. Michael even saw Daniel as a brother. Daniel's parents ended up giving Michael their child's copy of Pokemon Red, because they knew how much the two loved to play the game together. Sadly though, Michael was found dead about 2 months after he got Daniel's Pokemon game. He had smashed a mirror and used a piece of glass to cut his own throat. His Game Boy was placed next to him on the table, with the Pokemon Red game placed in it. No one knows what happened to Daniel's Pokemon Red game after that. It sort of vanished after Michael's death. Some say that Michael's parents had a garage sale and sold the game to a nice family with a couple of children. Others say that Michael broke the game before he killed himself. Those are only rumours, but one thing is true. If you ever buy a used Pokemon Red game, just make sure that there isn't a Mew on there named Kami. She just loves to have people play with her, you know. Thank you for listening to the end. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that like button, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and tap the bell icon to make sure you never miss a story.